Would Take Shape for Life. Your host is Amber Smithson. She is a certified health coach with Take Shape for Life. Your call is now live.
Thanks, Joyous. It's good to be here. First off, I just want to welcome everybody onto the call who are first-time listeners. And this call, the Habits of Health call, is for anybody who is in weight loss phase, maintenance phase, transition phase, no matter what. It's also for clients, coaches, health professionals. There's going to be there's always a lot of different demographics that we get on this call. And so you might hear questions or comments that pertain to any of these groups. But first off, we want to say happy Thanksgiving. So if you are on if you're on the Zoom, we have a video chat going, or you can also call into this call. So if you want to join us via the video chat, then you're going to want to go to zoom.us and enter in our ID, which is 801-356-3181. So again, you go to zoom.us, so zoom.us, and the ID is 801-356-3181. All right, so let's get going on the call. So today is November 25th, 2015, and tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So if you're on the video chat, then I thought that I would do something fun. Is you don't need any pumpkin pie. You could just get a pumpkin pie hat like this that my son actually won in a turkey gobbling contest. So, you know, you got to have a little bit of fun. So I've got my pumpkin pie hat on today for Thanksgiving. So we want to talk a little bit about abundance today. And so I asked Kat Fuller, Global Director, to come on the call with me. And I was talking to Kat the other day, and I said, you know, what do you think of when people talk about abundance, or when you're thinking of Thanksgiving, and sometimes there's an overabundance of lots of things like food and family a little. No, you can never have too much family, right? It's all good. So Kat, I want you to unmute yourself and give us some of your thoughts on abundance.
All right, so I love this topic. My husband and I, John, we're both health coaches full-time. We love it, what we do. We love helping people. And we always have thought about ourselves as abundant-minded. And I don't know how many of you out there have read Brené Brown before. Just raise your hand. I love her. She kind of gave me a new definition of abundance. We always think of abundance as a lot of something or so much, maybe even like overabundance. Maybe we think about that. But the way that Brené Brown describes abundance is enough of something. She said, I think abundance and scarcity are actually not opposites, but they're two sides of the same coin. And that we put ourselves into this never enough category. The opposite of never enough isn't abundance or more than you could ever imagine. The opposite of scarcity is enough, or what she calls wholeheartedness. So that's being vulnerable, worthy, facing uncertainty, exposure, emotional risks, and knowing that you're enough. So I like that definition, and thinking about abundance as enough and that you are enough. So we always think about how many of you wake up in the morning and go, oh, I just didn't get enough sleep. Oh, I don't make enough money. Oh, I don't have enough time. I had all these to-do things and I didn't get enough done. A lot of us live in this mindset of never enough, never enough. And I think it's really magical to kind of flip that switch and think of the positive things. And there's a trick to this, and the trick is gratitude. So throughout the day, as we interact with other people, we're painfully aware of what's missing in our lives. We are. I think all of you could probably feel that way and know that, you know, you always are going, oh my gosh, that person has it all together. I'm not like that. I'm not enough. I'm not happy enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough, whatever. I'm not skinny enough, any of these things. And we are painfully aware of all the things we don't have. But if we start thinking about the things that we are grateful for, then all of a sudden the never enough goes away, and that's what we focus on, and there's always enough. And that's what abundance is always enough. Amber and I she mentioned we were talking about this the other day, and she said, that makes me think about a car. When you fill a car up with gas, that you fill up the tank and then you stop, right? You don't fill up the trunk and fill up the inside of the car and it's an abundance of gas, right? You just give it enough of what you need. So this Thanksgiving holiday, focus on the things that you're grateful for, and all of a sudden the scarcity fallacy that we place on our minds and on ourselves, it goes away. And then we don't feel like we have to overindulge ourselves and gorge ourselves on everything, but we can just have enough. Just have enough of everything you need. Enough family. Like Amber said, there's never too much. I kind of might disagree with that. But yeah, it's just such a great time right now going into the holiday season to just be grateful for everything you have and the things that you have enough of. So
I love that. I love that, Kat. And I think that one of the main things to remember is usually this happens going into the scarcity mindset or feeling like you never have it. It happens when you're comparing. Like that's what I was thinking when you were talking about that it's always like Dr. A says, don't go into the comparative reality, because a lot of times you don't really know what the reality is for another person. And so maybe you're comparing yourself to someone else and saying, oh boy, they have more money than I have. Maybe they have a lot more debt than you have. They might have more stuff than you have, and they might have more debt than you have. Or you're comparing yourself to someone else. Oh, I'm not skinny enough compared to my neighbor. Or whatever it is. My kids aren't as well behaved as so-and-so or whatever. You never know what's really going on with someone else. And when you're doing the comparative reality, you're really not grounded in what your reality is and what's really going on for you. I want to open it up and get some comments on this, on the having enough abundance topic. And I'm going to take off my pie hat now because it's itchy. Okay, who has some ideas on this? Well, I like lots of participation on these calls. Go ahead.
Are you talking to me?
Yep.
No, okay, sorry. So what I love is, like, for instance, one year, my husband and I, we only made $11,000 and we had 2 young children. And so for me, I just compare myself to what it was like years ago. So I'm not comparing myself to anybody else, but I think back on all the things that I'm really thankful for and the position that we're in now. I just started out as a health coach. I got 1 client and I am very happy with that. Happy Thanksgiving to me, happy Thanksgiving to my client for allowing me to be able to share this program with them. So that's what I'm at right now.
I love that. I love that. You can think of what's going on with you and where you've been because you experienced that. So that actually is something that you can compare apples to apples in a sense too, right?
Right.
I love that. That's a really good point. Who else has some ideas on this?
I got a couple thoughts.
Go ahead, Jared.
I always think of abundance as a renewable resource. That when you have enough, and sometimes you're going to have just enough, but sometimes you're going to have more than you can actually even use. And so just like with food, when you've got too much food, you can't hoard it. When you've got too much of something or even enough of something, if you hoard it, it'll go bad, right? It only lasts for so long. But if you give it away to other people and you show gratitude by engaging in other people's lives, and we call that charity, right? Charitable giving, charitable actions, charitable mindset. The cool thing about offering charity and serving other people is the byproduct of charity is more abundance. Because you get into those relationships and have those experiences with other people where it just feeds you more. It feeds you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in every way. And I always love the words of Zig Ziglar, that if you help enough other people get what they want in life, you'll have everything that you want in life. And so whether it's focusing on, like this Thanksgiving for myself, I really want to focus on giving thanks and not giving excuses for stuff. Because people give excuses for everything. They give excuses why they're not happy and why they're not healthy and why they're not whatever, because they don't feel like they have enough. So I like thinking about everything that I'm grateful for, because if you think of everything that you're grateful for versus everything you want, I'll bet that the list of gratitude is immensely longer. But the things that we want could probably be listed on one page, unless you're my kids for Christmas.
Our kids were pretty good, right? They only had a couple things on their list. But it's true. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the other side of that coin, is that sometimes we limit ourselves to what we allow ourselves to achieve, because we say, oh, I shouldn't want that, or, oh, I should just be grateful for what I have, and who am I to want optimal health, or who am I to want to, you know what I mean? It's those sorts of things too, that I think that there's an extreme on both sides of that you feel like, well, I already have, awesome kids, and I already have a good marriage. I should just be grateful for where I'm at and stop worrying about optimal health. And, it's just, I should just be where I am. So does anyone have any thoughts on that side of the coin?
I do, Amber. I think if we don't have gratitude for those things that we have, I think it is important to be grateful for what you have. But if we don't work on those things, they go away. It's like what Jared said, when we don't give that food away, then it goes bad. And so if we're not sharing and teaching and helping and growing and working on ourselves all the time, then we're going backwards. And I think it's really interesting if we just settle, that really it's not that we're just staying where we are, because there's no stay where you are. You're either moving forward or back. And so if we settle for something because, oh, maybe we're not worthy, maybe it's good enough, maybe it's hard, then I think we kind of limit ourselves to achieving greatness, but we also go backwards.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Do you guys on the call, the ones I could see, like, do you see some truth in that? Or have you ever seen that in your life where you're just like, I'm good enough? Yeah, I see a few hands on here. I think it's definitely true, where you almost like, you fool yourself, like Jared was saying, you fool yourself into thinking, if I'm grateful for what I have, then I won't push myself. I won't go farther. I won't achieve more in life, because that would mean I'm not grateful for what I have. But I think it's the total opposite, like Kat was saying, that when we are grateful for our blessings, then we're going to use those things that we've been blessed with, and we're going to double them. We're going to triple them. We're going to pay it forward to others. We're going to, really be the best that we can be. I think that's the best way to show gratitude that there is. Does anyone else have any thoughts on this? Or questions? Or maybe you're totally going, what the heck are they talking about? And you need some clarification.
I want everything. But when I say I want everything, I don't want a bunch of stuff. Stuff doesn't make you happy necessarily. It might provide you temporary happiness while you're engaged in something. But I want health. I want a great marriage. I want great kids. I want my kids to be happy. And when you want things like that, I think that the thing for me, what you and Kat were talking about, was it puts you into action. When you want a great marriage, or you want kids that are super happy and stuff, you do the things that someone does that has a great marriage, or you want health. Two aspects of health for me. is I've never looked at a scale and looked at a number on a scale as a destination. And I've always wanted more when I got there. It wasn't like, oh, I've achieved it. Let's have the poppers and the fireworks and everything. It's like, okay, what am I going to do next with my health? And that comes down to two areas mostly for me. Of course, there's all the habits of health like sleep, which still evades me a little bit, but eating and exercise. If you stop exercising, your body gets soft. Your muscles don't function properly. You don't feel as good. Your brain doesn't feel as good. When you stop eating every 2 to 3 hours and carb protein balancing, all these things, I want what I've achieved over the last several years forever. So I'm going to keep doing the things that will help me continue to be healthy so that I can achieve more with my health.
I love that, Jared. And I think what you said was so important is that you're either building your muscle or you're losing muscle. And that's not just for exercise. So if you think of your brain as a muscle, then you're either strengthening your habits of health muscle in your brain, or you're strengthening your habits of disease in your brain. With every choice that you make, with everything that you do day to day with your habits. And I think that sometimes we fool ourselves and we go, oh, you know, I'm only going to eat it this once, or, oh, somebody will be offended if I don't eat, you know, half of their pumpkin pie, or, you know, we just keep fooling ourselves with these things, or it's free to sample. I'd be wasting it if I don't eat it, right? I mean, there's so many things. Oh, I love this. Your heart is a muscle too. We need to use it. Isn't that true? So your heart is a muscle, and when you're giving to others, or you're helping, or you're serving, you're doing these things that, like Jared said, charitable work and things like that, then you're strengthening that charity muscle in your heart. Or, you know, there's lots of excuses that we give ourselves. So I guess, how do you stop fooling yourself? How do you really strengthen the muscle in your brain or in your heart or whatever? How do you strengthen the healthy muscles? Do you guys have some ideas on this?
I've got one idea, and that's strengthen the support around you. Make sure that Dr. Anderson always talks about creating a microenvironment of health. So strengthening your habits. And the easiest way to strengthen your habits is to surround yourself with other people who have the habits that you want, because they're not going to be the food pushers. They're not going, and also like tomorrow is a big food pusher day, right? Strengthen your comebacks. When someone offers you food, oh, it's okay, I already had some. Well, I probably did have some like a year ago or 7 years ago or something like that. Or, oh, I'm going to have some later, maybe a year from now. They don't need to know that. So strengthen your skills in being able to be healthy. But a lot of that has to do with who is around you and the environment that you're in.
I love that. Go ahead, Kat.
I have something too. I'm an athlete, and I remember growing up, and I worked on my sports every single day. It wasn't like I went outside and shot 10,000 free throws, and then for a year I didn't do anything. But it's the daily consistent actions. And I know Dr. A talks about this a lot, that if you choose a hamburger or a cheeseburger, or, hey, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, and let's be honest, some of you are going to make choices that are not according to the program that you're on. But you know what? It's just a choice. So if you work on strengthening those muscles and making better choices over time, a cheeseburger isn't going to kill you. But a cheeseburger every single day, every meal, if you're making bad choices throughout your life every day, then that's where the harmful effects come in. But if you're making, if you're working out every day and exercising those muscles of choosing healthy things, then that will pay off. It might not pay off as quickly. If you decide that if you're on 5-1 right now and you decide to go off and go crazy, then yeah, you're going to feel the effects of that, and you're probably going to be sick. But if you practice your muscles or even moderation, then if you work on that, like Jared said, I love the comebacks. I think the comebacks are so perfect. But it's a way to strengthen your muscles every day and practice, eating healthy in the long run.
I love that. That's so true. And I think a key thing that Kat said there was to make choices. Because a lot of times, I mean, have you ever felt in your life like, oh, stuff's just happening to me that I can't control? Have you ever felt like that? I know I used to be like, that was me all the time. Like 7-8 years ago, I was like, everything bad happens to me. So I think that strengthening your choice muscle, like if you, I mean, a lot of you guys are just going to do 5 and 1 tomorrow, and you're going to be awesome if you're in weight loss phase, and you're just going to sail through and fat burn and feel like, bam, like I totally just like obliterated Thanksgiving and I am on cloud 9. And some of you are going to not do 5 and 1. So I say make a choice, like Kat said, decide what you're going to do. And it's not stuff happening to you. It's not, oh, we'll see what happens. Oh, if grandma cries because I don't eat her pie, then I'll eat it. Or, oh, if I'm too tired, or, like make a plan. And if your plan is to have, the 3-bite rule or whatever, 3 tablespoons of something that's not on your plan and that's it, like make a plan, whatever it is, whatever it is. For me, I'm in maintenance, and for Thanksgiving tomorrow, I plan to eat lots of turkey and green salad and green beans, whatever veggies and healthy things that look really good. And I'm not going to put anything on my plate that doesn't look fantastic. Like I'm not just going to take it to be polite. And if something looks absolutely fantastic, I'm just going to have 2 bites of it. And that's my plan. And I'm going to stick to it. And that's okay. And stuff's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to just like be pushed around. Like I'm not into being bullied. I am just going to make my plan and stick to it. And that's okay. So I love that. That's strengthening your habits of health muscle. Right? Who else has some comments on that? Kat?
I just wanted to say something about choices that you said. This is really, for me in my life, I was on 5 and 1 during Thanksgiving 3 years ago. My husband, John, did the program with me, and he hit his goal like November 15th. And I still had like 5 pounds I wanted to lose. So I was like, I'm not going off program. And I sailed through Thanksgiving. You guys, I don't even remember Thanksgiving that year. It's 2 years later, and I don't remember missing out. I don't remember feeling bad. I ate lots of veggies. I ate lots of turkey. I think I might have had 1 bite of something that looked amazing, but I was fine, and I hit my goal December 20th, and it worked. And I'll tell you about choices. Choices give you power. When you cheat, then you give all your power away. That's something happening to you, and you're letting it affect you, and it's negative, and the cortisol starts raging through your body and storing fat. But if you make a choice, it's peace, and it's you having the power in your life.
That's so true. I mean, that's really strengthening your habit of health muscle right there, is just taking responsibility. Stop fooling yourself. You're not being bullied into any choices here. I mean, nobody's got a gun to your head. If someone had a gun to your head, I will give it to you. And it's okay. Like, we're not here to tell you what your choices should be. Only you. You decide what your choices are going to be. And I'm not going to give you a guilt trip later for it. Especially I'm going to applaud you. If you said, this is my plan, no matter what it is, and you stick to it, I'm going to applaud you. Because right there, that is, like Kat said, you have the power there. You're not just letting things happen to you. I love that. So who else has some ideas? Who else do we have on here? Jean or Max or Tracy or iPad? Does anyone have any ideas or want to ask a question? Oh, we didn't take questions yet. Does anyone have any questions? Must be doing a good job. No one has any questions.
Chime in for a minute. I was really quite pleased with a new client who anticipated going to someone else's home for Thanksgiving. And so he let the host know in advance that he was on a special program and that he needed to be really careful about what he was eating. So he kind of gave her an idea of what he could eat. And basically, you know, he was supported in the whole idea. And so when he gets there, there won't be any of the pushy, it'll all be supportive. And so he can sail right through that without alcohol being served to him, or without him having to, you know, in the spur of the moment, waffle. But actually he has taken the bull by the horns and called the host in that he's the program. So I was just so impressed with that he did that all by himself.
I love that. That is so good. I mean, if you think of it, like, what if you had a food allergy? I'm allergic to rhubarb. You guys all know how to kill me now. Like, literally, I will die if I eat rhubarb. So if somebody offered me rhubarb and I said no, am I worried that I'm going to offend them? Nope. Not even a little bit. So it's so true. It's a mental game. If you get people on your side and you let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing. These are my goals. Can you support me in that? I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be fine. I love that. Does anyone else have any last minute comments?
The hostess didn't have to go to a lot of trouble unnecessarily.
Yep. Yeah, they probably actually appreciated that, right? So true. Linda, did you have something you wanted to say? You're off mute now. Oh, maybe she didn't know she was. All right, well, we are about out of time, but thank you so much for joining us for the Habits of Health call. I hope that this was helpful for you, and I love this stuff. I love to talk about abundance, and I love Thanksgiving. You could see my pie hat again. I'll put it on one more time. See the little crust right there? So thanks so much for being on, you guys, and happy Thanksgiving.